Derek was 26 at the time, worked in sales, spent most of his time on the road, driving between cities, meeting clients, and closing deals. He'd driven the I-40 corridor more times than he could count, knew every exit, every rest stop, every patch of bad road like the back of his hand. It was a Tuesday night in late October. Cold, clear skies. The kind of night where the stars felt too bright, too close. Derek had just left a client meeting in Amarillo. It was late, almost midnight, and he still had a 4-hour drive ahead of him. But he didn't mind. He liked driving at night. Fewer cars, fewer distractions. Just him, the road, and whatever podcast he had queued up. He merged onto the highway, set the cruise control, settled in. For the first hour, everything was normal. Empty lanes, occasional truck, nothing unusual. But then he saw it. Up ahead on the shoulder, a car, pulled over, hazard lights blinking weakly in the dark. It was an older model sedan, maybe a Honda, maybe a Toyota, hard to tell from a distance. The hood was up, steam rising into the cold air. No one is standing nearby, no movement. Derek slowed down a little as he passed, glanced over. The car looked abandoned. The driver's door closed, windows fogged up, no sign of anyone. He thought about stopping, thought about calling it in, but something about it felt off. So he kept driving. 5 minutes later, he forgot about it entirely. Derek drove for another 20 minutes. Uneventful, quiet. The podcast played in the background, some true crime thing he wasn't really paying attention to. He was thinking about the meeting, about the next day, about whether he should grab food at the next exit or just power through. And then he saw it again. Another car on the shoulder. Same position, hood up, hazard lights blinking weakly in the dark. It was the same car. No, not the same car. It looked like the same car. Same make, same model, same color, same pose. Hood up, steam rising, no one around. Derek's heart tightened. He slowed down, stared at it as he passed. It was the same car. Same dent on the rear bumper, same faded paint on the hood, same cracked taillight. The same. But that didn't make sense. He'd been driving straight. No exits, no turns, no loops. He hadn't doubled back. So how? Derek's hands tightened on the wheel. Maybe it was a different car. Maybe his mind was playing tricks on him. Late night, long drive, easy to get confused. He exhaled, told himself to relax. It was just a coincidence. Had to be. But 5 miles later, it happened again. Same car.
Derek's mind raced. Was this some prank, some weird art installation, a glitch in reality? None of it made sense. He thought about pulling over, thought about turning around, thought about getting out and inspecting the car himself. But every instinct in his body screamed, no. Don't stop. Don't turn around. Don't get out. Just keep driving. So he did. And the car kept appearing. Mile after mile, 5-mile intervals, like a loop that wouldn't end. Derek's breathing got shallow. His vision tunneled. He cranked up the heat, even though he was already sweating. He needed to stay calm, needed to think. And then something changed. On the 8th sighting, Derek noticed something he hadn't seen before. The driver's door was open. Just a crack. Not all the way, just slightly ajar, like someone had just gotten out. Or was about to get in. Derek's stomach dropped. He didn't slow down this time. He kept his speed, kept his eyes forward. But as he passed the car, he caught something in his peripheral vision. A shape, standing behind the car, half hidden in shadow. Tall, thin, motionless. Derek's blood ran cold. He didn't look back, didn't check the mirror. He just pressed harder on the gas. The speedometer climbed, 75, 80, 85. And then the car appeared again. Same position, same open door. But now the figure was closer, standing on the shoulder, facing the road, facing him. Derek's breath hitched. He flew past it, heart hammering, and it appeared again and again. Each time the figure was closer to the road, closer to the lane, closer to him. By the 12th sighting, the figure was standing in the breakdown lane, right at the edge, arms at its sides, head tilted, watching, waiting. Derek couldn't take it anymore. He slammed on the brakes, pulled a hard right onto an exit ramp he barely saw coming. Tires screeched, his seatbelt locked, the car fishtailed before straightening out. He didn't care where the exit led, he just needed off that highway. The ramp curved down in the darkness. No lights, no signs, just a narrow 2-lane road cutting through empty fields. Derek's hand shook as he drove, his chest heaved. He kept checking the mirrors, kept expecting to see the car, the figure, but there was nothing. Just darkness. He drove for another 10 minutes before pulling into a gas station. Fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, empty pumps, one attendant inside, barely awake. Derek sat in his car, engine running, hands still gripping the wheel. He didn't know what he'd just experienced, but he knew one thing for certain. He'd never drive that stretch of highway again. Derek eventually made it home that night, took back roads the whole way, didn't stop, didn't look back. He told a few friends about what happened. Most of them laughed it off. Sleep deprivation, they said, fatigue, stress. But Derek knew better. A few weeks later, he found an online forum for strange highway experiences. And buried in the threads, he found others. People who'd seen the same thing. A repeating car, always broken down, always 5 miles apart, and always a figure. No one knew what it was. No one knew why it happened, but they all agreed on one thing. If you see it, don't stop. And whatever you do, don't let it get close.
Marcus had been driving rigs for over 15 years, cross-country routes, solo runs. He'd seen it all. Blizzards, breakdowns, roadside brawls, you name it. Nothing rattled him. Not anymore. He liked the solitude, liked the rhythm of the road, the steady hum of the diesel engine. The endless stretch of white lines pulls him forward. But even Marcus admits, some nights feel different. This was one of those nights. It was late March, somewhere in rural Nebraska. Middle of nowhere. No towns, no lights, just flat prairie and empty sky. Marcus was hauling a load of electronics from Omaha to Denver. It should have been a straightforward run, but he'd hit delays, traffic, weather, a blown tire outside of Lincoln. By the time he got back on the road, it was past 2 a.m. Most truckers would have pulled over, found a rest stop, called it a night. But Marcus was behind schedule, and he'd driven tired before. He'd be fine. So he pressed on. The highway was deserted, not a single car in either direction. Just Marcus, his rig, and the darkness pressing in from all sides. He had the CB radio on, but it was quiet. No chatter, no static, just silence. It felt heavy, oppressive. Marcus cranked up the heat, sipped lukewarm coffee from a thermos, kept his eyes on the road. And then, out of nowhere, he saw something. Up ahead, on the right side. just past his headlights. A ditch. Deep, muddy. The kind that runs parallel to highways in farm country. And at the bottom of that ditch, movement. Marcus squinted, slowed down just a little. At first he thought it was an animal. Maybe a deer. Maybe a coyote. But as he got closer, he realized it wasn't. It was a person. Crawling. Marcus's breath caught. The figure was on all fours, moving slowly, awkwardly, like something was wrong with it. Its clothes were torn, mud-streaked. Its head hung low, almost dragging against the ground. Marcus's first instinct was to stop. Someone was hurt, needed help. But something stopped him. Maybe it was the way the figure moved, too slow, too deliberate. Or maybe it was the way its head turned as he passed. Not quickly, not naturally, but smoothly, mechanically, like it was tracking him. Marcus's hands tightened on the wheel. He didn't stop. He kept driving.
The figure stood at the edge of the highway, just standing there. Tall, impossibly tall now that it was upright. Arms hanging at its sides, head tilted at a wrong angle. Marcus's stomach twisted. He pressed harder on the gas, the engine roared, the rig picked up speed. And then the figure started walking. Not toward the shoulder, not toward the ditch, toward the middle of the road. Slow, steady, purposeful. Marcus watched in the mirror, his heart pounding. The figure walked into the center lane, stopped, and turned to face him. Marcus's blood ran cold. He was a quarter mile away now, maybe more. There was no way the figure could still see him. But he felt it. Felt those eyes locked on him. Felt the weight of that stare. And then the figure started running. It wasn't a normal run. It was fast, too fast. Legs pumping in long, unnatural strides, arms swinging wildly, head still tilted at that wrong angle. It was coming straight down the highway, straight toward him. Marcus's heart slammed against his ribs. He floored it. The speedometer climbed, 60, 65, 70. But the figure kept coming. It didn't slow down, didn't tire. It just ran. Marcus glanced at the mirror again. The figure was closer now. Impossibly close. He could see its shape in the darkness, could see the way it moved, jerky, wrong, like a broken marionette. And then it stopped. Just stopped. Right in the middle of the road. Marcus exhaled. His hands shook. He kept driving, didn't look back. But as the miles stretched on, he couldn't shake the feeling that it was still out there, still watching, still waiting. Marcus never drove that route again. He requested a transfer, started taking southern routes, daylight runs, anything to avoid that stretch of highway. He told his dispatcher what happened. The guy laughed it off, told him to get more sleep. But Marcus knows what he saw. And late at night, when he's alone on the road, he still checks his mirrors, still watches the ditches, because he knows it's still out there, somewhere.
Tyler was 32, software engineer, quiet guy, kept to himself, not the type to believe in ghosts or paranormal nonsense, But after what happened to him, he's not so sure anymore. It was a Friday night in early November. Tyler had been working late, debugging code, fixing issues, trying to hit a deadline. By the time he finished, it was almost 1 a.m. He lived about 40 minutes outside the city, a small house in the suburbs, quiet neighborhood, tree-lined streets. The drive home was usually relaxing, a chance to decompress, clear his head. But tonight, something felt off. The roads were empty, too empty, not even a stray car at the lights. Tyler turned on the radio, some late-night talk show, background noise to fill the silence. He drove through the city, past the empty plazas, past the shuttered storefronts, and then he hit the highway. The highway was a straight shot home. 2 lanes, minimal traffic. Tyler had driven it 1,000 times. He set the cruise control, leaned back, let the rhythm of the road take over. For the first 10 minutes, everything was fine. And then, a truck appeared behind him. A big rig, 18-wheeler, hauling something heavy. It came up fast, headlights flooding his rearview mirror. Tyler squinted against the glare, moved into the right lane to let it pass. The truck pulled alongside him, slow, steady. Tyler glanced over. Couldn't see the driver. The cab was too high, too dark. The truck lingered there for a moment, then pulled ahead. Tyler exhaled. And that's when he saw it. In the truck's polished metal side panel, in the reflection, his car, his windshield, and someone sitting in his passenger seat. Tyler's heart stopped. He snapped his head to the right, looked at the passenger seat, empty. He looked back at the truck's reflection. Still there. A figure, sitting perfectly still, facing forward. Tyler's hands went numb. He blinked, shook his head, looked again. The figure was still there. Dark silhouette, no movement, just sitting there. Tyler's breath came in short, shallow gasps. This wasn't real. This couldn't be real. He looked at the seat again. Nothing. Looked at the reflection. Still there. The truck started pulling ahead. The reflection faded. And Tyler was left alone in his car, heart pounding, skin crawling.
Tyler's mind raced. Trick of the light. Had to be. Some kind of optical illusion. But deep down, he knew better. He'd seen it. Clear as day. Someone is in his car, sitting right next to him. Tyler's eyes flicked to the passenger seat, over and over, like he was waiting for something to appear, but it stayed empty. Minutes passed. Tyler tried to calm down, tried to focus on the road. And then, another truck appeared. This one came up on his left, slower, older model, rusted panels. Tyler's chest tightened. He didn't want to look, didn't want to see, but he couldn't help himself. He glanced at the truck's side panel, and there it was again. The figure, in his passenger seat. But this time, it was closer, leaning forward, head turned toward him, like it was looking at him. Tyler's stomach lurched. He stared at the reflection. His pulse was hammering in his ears. The figure wasn't just a shadow anymore. He could see details now. Pale skin, hollow eyes, mouth slightly open. It looked wrong. Not quite human. Not quite anything. Tyler tore his eyes away, looked at the seat. Still empty. He looked back at the reflection. The figure's head tilted, slowly, unnaturally, and then it smiled. Tyler screamed.
He jerked the wheel, swerved into the right lane. The truck blared its horn and roared past. Tyler's car fishtailed. He regained control, pulled onto the shoulder, slammed on the brakes. The car skidded to a stop. Tyler sat there, engine running, hands shaking, breath ragged. He looked at the passenger seat. Empty. He looked at the mirrors, the windows, the reflections. Nothing. But he could still feel it. The presence. The weight. Something was in the car with him. He just couldn't see it. Tyler didn't move for a long time. He sat there on the shoulder, cars passing, wind rattled the windows. Eventually, he forced himself to keep driving. He had to get home, had to get out of this car. He stayed in the right lane, drove slowly, avoided looking at any reflections. But every time a car passed, every time headlights swept across his windshield, he felt it. Watching. Waiting. By the time he pulled into his driveway, he was drenched in sweat. He parked, turned off the engine, sat in the silence, and then he heard it. Breathing. Soft, steady, coming from the passenger seat. Tyler bolted out of the car. He didn't look back, didn't lock it, just ran inside, slammed the door, locked every window, every entrance. He didn't sleep that night. He sat in his living room, lights on, watching the driveway through the window. The car sat there, dark, still, and Tyler swore